In the shadow of decay I rise, typhus the herald beneath poison skies. With nervous rods I lay walls to waste. The reaper's scythe, no life can escape. Beneath the flies, beneath the filth, I spread the plague with a twisted will. From festering wounds, corruption grows in the heart of death. God, where despair flows. I am the harbinger, the bringer of disease. In Noble's name I spread death with ease. Vessels walk with me hand in hand. Rivers of filth drown the land. I am typhus, master of decay. In the name of ruin I claim the day. Light crumbles to dust. Wherever I tread, rot consumes the just. Space hulks reek of a foul rebirth. Carriers of plague across the cursed earth. Beneath the flies, beneath the filth, I spread the plague with a twisted will. From festering wounds, corruption grows in the heart of death. God, where despair flows. I am the harbinger, the bringer of disease. In Noble's name I spread death with ease. Vessels walk with me hand in hand. Rivers of filth drown the land. I am typhus, master of decay. In the name of ruin I claim the day. The Imperium's light crumbles to dust. Wherever I tread, rot consumes the just. Space hulks reek of a foul rebirth. Carriers of plague across the cursed earth. Beneath the flies, beneath the filth, I spread the plague with a twisted will. From festering wounds, corruption grows in the heart of death. God, where despair flows. I am the harbinger, the bringer of disease. In Noble's name I spread death with ease. Vessels walk with me hand in hand. Rivers of filth drown the land. I am typhus, master of decay. In the name of ruin I claim the day. Nightmares howl, the gassing walls. Pestilent tides, new life is born. Nurgle's passing, a twisted place. I embrace your heart in my cold embrace. Fear the plague fleet, fear the end. No salvation, no let to defend. I am typhus, reaper of dread. Bow to Nurgle, embrace the dead.
Let's check.
Yeah, Nurglings.
There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to an episode of the Disgustingly Resilient podcast. I'm Aidan Smallings, joined with the full gang today. Mr. Death Guard Dave. How are you doing, Mr. Dave?
Very good. How are you guys? Good to see you both again.
I'm
See
very
ya.
good. And Mr. War Dog Will as well in the bottom there. How's the kittens doing?
They are doing well. I was just saying before the episode, less farty this week. I won't have to pull as many faces as I did
from
the last
Papa Nurgle.
episode. Yeah, I'll tell you, yeah, they're just getting involved in the theme of the
Exactly.
podcast.
Yeah.
Nice.
So how are you, Aidan? How's yourself?
I'm not too bad, man. I'm fully recovered now, which is nice. Like fully recovered. Like even the last little lingering bits have cleared off. So, yeah, I'm excited. I've got an RTT this weekend. It is that renowned Votan legend Aidan Tolley. You never know. I have nothing to do with that guy at all. I don't know what you're on about. So I mean,
His
quickly,
ego.
yeah. So before I quickly get onto this RTT and before we get into the main topic of today, which is obviously the Death Guard win rate, just a quick reminder, people who are tuning in, hello and welcome to the Discussing Resilient podcast. If you are new here, we are a dedicated Death Guard podcast. We always talk about Death Guard competitive, nerfed, buff, doesn't really matter. We'll always still be here and playing this army. Sometimes we like to sprinkle in other things. Wardog Will over there got his name for a reason. Unlike Dave, Dave is just Death Guard Dave. He's Death Shroud Dave at this point. If a list can't run Death Shroud, he's not interested in it.
I think actually, if we got to the point where if Death Shroud got legended, I may have to play another army.
That's the only way. But yeah, so welcome, hello if you are new, and obviously our regulars, good to see all the faces in the chat and the names that we all recognise. Thank you for being here to support us. Please, I know it's annoying, begging, grifting, whatever you want to call it. Please feel free to leave a like on the stream. It really does help us grow. And a subscribe. And consider membership, who've just been gifted one by Laser Chicken there. Thank you so much for the one gifted membership. Memberships, Plague Marine tier, which is the lowest, which is £3 a month. If you pay it at least once and you're in the Discord, the community Discord forever, you never get kicked out. Even if you cancel your membership, you'll never get kicked out. So if you want to be in a lot of people have been saying very nice things about our Discord as well today, which is very nice. People saying they've started a second army. They're trying to find like a community that's like the same, like a Discord for the same, and they're struggling to find it. So hey, we got something unique, which is quite nice. So if you want to support the channel, you can consider becoming a member. $2.99 a month and upwards. Blight Lord tier gets you like personal list reviews on list review streams, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, any support to help the channel really helps us keep going and keep making the content. One rule we do have here is we try not to paywall any content at all behind membership, because we want you to support us because you want to support us and not because you feel forced to get content. And Meds coming in with the 10 gifted memberships. You just made 10 people's day there, my guy. Thank you so much, Meds. You've also made my day.
Thank you, Meds. Legend as always.
Absolute legend.
But if you do want to support us, though, we do have some ways to do that. We are affiliated with Element Games here in the UK. We might at some point look to get some affiliates in other parts of the world as well. But if you are living in the UK and you spend any money, any models, you start a second army, or you start in Death Guard, use our affiliate link and we get a little kickback for the channel. Some other ways you can support us as well. Dave designed some fantastic sports shirts, and if you want to tell us more about those, Dave.
Yeah, if you can just, if you want to head over to drpstore.com, that's all one word. There you can find hoodies like the one I'm wearing now, or you can find desk mats to keep your kind of gaming PC kind of space, or your workspace kind of branded with our elements. There is a jersey which was, as Aidan said last week, great to see some people like Tom Bolton wearing over at LGT, which is just, it's not a we're not getting people to, you don't have to play as Discussing Resilient podcast. It's just a way to kind of have a jersey if you go to events and you're not part of a team, or you just fancy kind of repping the channel there. You can head to drpstore.com and get that, and there's links down below for things like dice over at Baron of Dice, especially if you're in the US, best to get them from direct. And then we've got Saltire Games, a long time supporter of the channel, who have got their own branded, Disgusting Resilient, shall I say, co-branded items, which are great for just measuring out 12-inch deep strikes or 9-inch deep strikes, what round you're in, what contagion you're using. And then finally, we partner with Vanguard Tactics, who Aidan and I both play for. Aidan is actually the Death Guard coach. You can get training with Aidan and coaching with him if you want it. Links down below. And just go and check those guys out for things like free bat reps every week. We've both been played down there. We did the Codex review for Death Guard with them. So
Dave will be on it again very soon as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Dave's got a battle coming up.
I think Jordan messaged me, who said that he's editing the final bit of the battle report, and it should be up in next week or so. So yeah, that'll be me versus Stephen Box playing Custodians versus Death Guard,
which is an awesome matchup. And I love to see Golden Boys get smashed, so that's also going to be fun. So you better smash them, Dave. You better smash them. Just a quick note as well. Actually, my new jersey has actually just showed up. It's from a neighbour, but I wasn't in to get it, and I knocked on his house, and he's not in. So my jersey's down there. I will quickly say, if you do order team jersey, they are quite they're fitted quite tightly on the size. So I would probably go for one higher than your average size. This is me also admitting I'm a fat fuck and need a larger size than I thought. So
yeah, they're quite long as well, to be fair. So I'm 6'5" for the people who've never seen me in the real world, and a large was perfect for me on the shoulders and the length. So yes, if you're a taller gent, think about your shoulders, and if you're a wider gent, think about getting a size bigger than normal. But they are great shirts, so the quality's amazing, and obviously they look fantastic too. And as I think Dave might have said, they are all the number 7 as well. Nerfed's number.
Everyone's number 7. You don't get a choice in that, I'm afraid. But you can choose what name you want.
So that's enough anyway of that. Let's get into some stuff.
Anyway,
So
let's get in. Come on,
So very quickly, I have an RTT coming up on Saturday. I put a poll up for our members to vote on, and they have actually...
Yes, you did.
I did, and the votes actually was between, do you guys want to see me play Death Guard, Mortarian's Hammer, or do I take my Votan out for a spin? And the actual surprising result was that people want to see me take Votan out for a spin, for a little palette cleanser. Obviously, I'll still do an event recap regardless. So I'm going to try and get that done. It does kind of depend on how much building I can get done between like work, and I want to get another video. I want to get 2 videos recorded, one for weekend, one to go up tomorrow. So if I can manage to build a decent list from models, because they don't care about paint, it's only an RTT. You don't lose points for painting and all that stuff, so which is very nice of them. So I'm going to try and do that. It's what War Office, yeah, War Office. So if we don't get that there, then I will take, obviously, the Mortarian's Hammer. So regardless, I'll be at the event, and there'll be an event recap for you guys to tune in. It's a strange Mortarian's Hammer list, though. It's got Rhinos and Plague Marines in it. We're going to bust through some walls and see what we can do.
the standard there is very casual, so I think wherever you take, you'll have a good time as well, which is a nice thing.
Yeah, it should just be fun. It's just a fun palette cleanse to get sort of like back in there, because because as we were saying before, the season is basically wrapping up. I think it's just Worlds to go. World's Champs, and that's like pretty much all the big events. So like this season is pretty much done. UKTC season is done officially. So in terms of UK rankings, I actually finished 2nd in the UK this year. No chance I was beating Nathan Roberts this year. The man had an absolute spree with Mortarian's Hammer when he was at his peak. But again, I mean, sorry, Nathan Roberts, not Rogers. Sorry, did I say Rogers or did I say Roberts? I got my brain.
I heard Roberts.
Okay, I said it right. I did say it right. So yeah, he was brother to Josh Roberts, so he gets to practice with like one of the best players around as much as he needs to. So I have no shame in taking second. And I've been running fun things. I've been running all the different detachments, so I'm happy with that. So yeah, we'll have to see. If you're not first, you're last. Very true. You sound like my dad. So anyway, look forward to that this weekend. Have you guys got anything coming up?
I'm Team Storm that we put up last week, where Team Stormhammer have infiltrated a tournament that we definitely shouldn't be playing in, where Battle of Britain, it's an invite-only tournament in the UK, where Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales, Northern Ireland, not Ireland, sorry, all put their A team, their B team, and their C team in and have a behind closed doors tournament while they're sort of in the early stage of selecting their WTC teams and such.
Right.
It happens at Element Games, and I think Northern Ireland could only do an A and a B team of people who would travel to Element Games, so they invited the local team just to fill out the numbers. So we are fully understanding we are just battling not to win the wooden spoon, but we're accepting it we've accepted the challenge, and we're going to see how we go. So it's going to be a very high level of competition, and I'm taking Virulent Vectorum. I feel confident about it. I'm excited to see how it goes. I do know a lot of the lads who play on England and stuff like that. So if nothing else, there'll be some good banter, even if we do get wrecked 5 games in a row.
At least you'll get some good quality games in.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing. That's how we're looking at it. Like, one of the lads at Rory went undefeated at UKTC. At LGT, and a few of the lads are kind of like approaching that 4-1 regular standard.
Custodes Rory.
So. Yeah.
Is he on Stonehammer now?
Yeah, he is.
He is the one Custodes player I actually fear. I genuinely mean that. Like, he's so nice as well, Rory. He's such a lovely lad.
He's top, isn't he? So people like him, for example, they kind of want to see how they do against, the real elites, and see, when they get that sort of like regular taste, how they sort of compare. Because a few guys who we expect might surprise us and sort of actually like win more than they lose, and maybe then that's their shot to get looked at for sort of like Worlds and things for either this season or next season. So should be good. But what about you, Dave? Anyway, you got anything coming up?
Yeah, just after doing doubles and then singles at LGT, I thought in less than 4 weeks' time after that to do another 3-day event. So I'm doing commentary.
Nice.
You madman.
I'd honestly completely forgotten I bought the tickets for it. So I basically then kind of got back and was like, oh, so glad that kind of Warhammer, that kind of bit. And then I was like, oh, I've got to go and do it again in 4 weeks. So yeah, actually, I'm secretly quite happy. So I'm off to play. Was part of Vanguard Tactics at Coventry, and so, yeah, play a 3-day event. Should be quite a laugh, and so therefore I think LGT was just practice for it, which is good.
And you have also been debating what you are taking, because obviously you haven't had you've been playing with your cock a little bit. But
Champions of Contagion, Will.
Champions of Contagion. It's just COC.
I honestly can't. I've never heard
Unbelievable.
Terrible, Will.
It's just embarrassing at this stage, isn't it?
Honestly, childish behaviour.
Bam Babenski with his cock.
But you have been considering going back to your Deathlord's Chosen, because I think you've missed it a little bit, haven't you, Dave?
Yeah, as much as I know it's really bad, but like I know sensibly that playing Champions is much more competitive, and it is as an option. It's got way more tricks. I did it LGT and I could see what it can do, and I could just run the same list again going into Coventry and be able to play it really, really easily. But I definitely missed Deathlord's Chosen, and the list that I played against Stephen, I think, is on VT's channel, is the one I've been noodling around with going, I think that is the next iteration of it. And so I might take that. I haven't got long, to be honest, I haven't got long to decide. I think next Sunday is probably when I've got to put the list in. So I'll probably talk about it a bit with you guys in chat, and then make a call on it.
Well, let's that's probably quite a good segue into what we're kind of talking about here, because I think we were going to talk about the meta on a whole, weren't we? Because obviously Death Guard aren't doing as well, and then what we're kind of looking to take as individuals. But I mean, because you were quite decorated with the list you were taking, Dave. I think you were probably doing the best of everyone with that particular attachment that I was aware of. How are you sort of seeing it? Is that something the list that you were taking, would you just tweak it, or do you think it's straight back to the drawing board and you have to build something new from the ground up?
With what? Which attachment, Will? Sorry.
With the attachment you're running, the Mortarian's Chosen one.
Oh, Deathlord's Chosen, yeah. So
Yeah.
So the version of that is basically it's 10 Plague Marines. Sorry, not 10 Templite Lord Terminators. I'm talking about the Champions one there. Templite Lord Terminators with Lord of Virulence, with the Val Vigor enhancement. So can move 6, can re-roll advances, can give it assault for 1 CP, and it re-rolls the wound roll and it gets +1 strength, +1 AP. Naturally, like so, it is. So you basically stage it. You drop some spawn onto the middle or some poxwalkers on the middle, and go on. Then put something out to remove it, and then you bring that through the wall, and then you advance onto the middle, and you shoot off whatever's on the middle, and go, okay, cool. Now come and get this off the middle, and then you go. Anything you come near it is going to be in contagion, and then I'm going to drop 6 dash out on you, maybe 9. So that's kind of. There's a 6 and a 3 in it as well. There's 2 units of Poxwalkers, 2 drones, heavy blight launcher, 2 Mephitic blight haulers, and then two spawn. So it's kind of it still plays in the same fundamental way, which is like basically set up, pounce, stick everything in contagion, drop nukes on it, and then basically do enough damage so the opponent can't really recover from it, or they're too busy fighting 2 units of Dash Shroud to be able to basically bring the primary back. And if they do, they've then got to deal with 10 Blight Lords that are sat in the middle. All the Blight Lords just push out off the middle again through a wall with an advance and assault again, and then damage what the basically the remains of what the Dash Shroud have been into, even if you lose them. So it's kind of it's an interesting one. And I've also, sorry, the other thing I've got in there is a Predator Destructor. So that's in there. I think it's 1 drone, one heavy blight drone, 1 Predator Destructor, because it enhances the. You can use it basically to get the extra AP again for the Blight Lords into infantry,
AP3 bolters.
AP3 bolters, which is horrific.
AP4 flamers.
Yeah, and you're rerolling the wound roll on kind of on that stuff, so they can all do some damage. So that's probably the next iteration of it to take. I still. Obviously, the Center Points change, it kind of changed it up, but it's a real shame not to be able to get Morty and keep Morty into that list, because he really made the reactive movement really made it sing with the dash around things and gave you yet another way to do it. But yeah, I'm quite looking forward to the Destructor. Was interesting in there. It feels pretty weak in terms of, because it's single AP everywhere, but it is 48-inch range on the autocannon. You are getting guaranteed more shots across the board. There are lethals in there. You are adding AP. You can still get extra AP from Contagion. So it's actually quite a decent. It's quite a decent addition to the list.
Do you think the Destructor is going to be like what a Cursed Cultists are in Chaos Space Marines, where something happens and everyone's, oh, we'll have to drop from all the Chaos Space Marines lists, and then in 6 months' time, everything's just back again, and I need another nerf? Do you think Destructor is going to be back in Death Guard list soon, and everyone's going to have them, and we're all going to be mourning about it?
I don't know. It's still even at 120 and mixing the heavy blight launcher drone and the Mephitic blight hauler. I love the blight haulers. I was really down on them the early part of 10th, and I'm like I would now probably take those over. If I had to have one or the other, I'd probably keep those over heavy blight launcher drones. If I had to lose one model, if GW said, right, it's your decision, one of those is getting legended, I think I would keep blight haulers now.
Oh, that's interesting. So
yeah.
So before we go to ask, because I was going to sort of that leads nicely. So how do you think? Are you thinking about the meta when you're writing lists at the moment? Are you thinking about like the big dogs, or are you just writing lists that you think you could pilot? And I'm going to do this thing, and it's my opponent to kind of stop the game plan.
I think because it's a good question. I am thinking about kind of what's out there, but I'm also thinking about like what do I play really well?
It's a bit of a comfort pick, yeah.
Yeah, it's a comfort pick because it's. I'm always at a bit of I always say this, but like because I only play Death Guard and I've only played Death Guard ever, like I can play very fast. I can play fast with it. Like I look at the board as it's unfolding in my opponent's turn. I know exactly what I'm going to do in mine. I know exactly how I'm going to deploy, and even if it's I think I want to do this, and my opponent has laid stuff out, like I'm faster doing it, like I know what I'm doing, and that gives me time to think quite well when I'm playing people, and I think that's what's allowed me to do well with the detachment versus, I mean, I think if you look at it currently, it's got like a 22% win rate, and I think I had a 70% win rate with it. Like, so like I'm quite confident I know how to play that one well, and I think there's not much. Well, I think when I look at the meta, I go, the things that I think I would struggle with are the things that any detachment of Death Guard struggles with. So okay. I think the list can play into quite a lot of opponents' lists.
So before we get to Aidan, because obviously Aidan, we'll ask you what you're doing next, but what is the meta then? Because that seems like a good point to sort of fit the conversation around, because as we sort of alluded to, the win rate has dropped for us dramatically, but then there are a few factions starting to pull ahead as potential problems in the meta, should we say? I mean, do you have any stats up there, Aidan, or do you
yeah, we've got stuff.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll get some stats up. So I mean, yeah. So as we've been saying,
yeah.
Go on. I was just going to say, as we've been saying, since the data slate has dropped, there's been obviously quite a few changes to the game. Obviously, we didn't actually get any changes. We already had our points drops before, and since the data slate has dropped, though, Death Guard has seen a consistent week-by-week win rate drop, dropping to our current lowest, which I think is 47.6% win rate, which is quite low. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not sky is falling. I wasn't the point of the stream is to just sit here and complain for 10 hours. But we want to talk about the reasons why we think this is happening, what could be impacting like these results, where it's coming from, and sort of whether it's an internal Death Guard issue, is it an external issue for Death Guard, or is it just a case of we got nerfed too hard? Because you know, and bear in mind, all those things could potentially be true at the same time. Like we could have been nerfed maybe just slightly too hard, but if the other two things didn't happen, it would have been fine. But on top of them, it's like stacking issues. Maybe it was too much. So we're getting to that. So looking at stats right now, the top 2 win rates for the weekend just gone, and one that we've been seeing consistently rising is Adeptus Mechanicus is riding near the top, 57.1% win rate. Turns out supercharging some army with some damage profiles, an army that lacked very much damage, and barely increasing their points when they were already so dirt cheap you could just spam the board. Your damage to point ratio becomes a little skew whiff, and I will say this now, this win rate, 57.1%, is not just because the buffs that AdMech got were so amazing that your average 4-1 AdMech Andy is now a 4-1-1er. Sorry, a 1-4 AdMech Andy is now a 4-1-1er. That's not what's happened. As we always see, when an army gets buffed to a point where the best players in the world start looking at army and going, That's now good. They'll jump off the faction they were on. Cough, surprise. Wonder who that would be. Might be Death Guard. And they will jump onto the new perceived army, and if it performs well, they will stick with that. So what you have is actually, even though more players in general will pick up the faction, there is a disproportionate amount of good and top players who jump on that faction, which will artificially increase that win rate more than so. So like I said, it's not just because if you were a 1-4 AdMech player, these buffs came in, you've not suddenly become a 4-1 AdMech player. The buffs were not that crazy. They're very good buffs, they're pretty damn strong buffs, but it's not like instant just auto win button buffs.
Auto win.
But if you were already pushing like an average, 3-2, maybe getting the odd cheeky 4-1 with AdMech, and then these buffs come in, now you're cooking. Now you're going to get 4-1s consistently and start pushing those 5-0s. So that is one thing. Now, another army that's really overperforming, and it gets a bit of a weird one whenever you look at the stats for it, is Genestealer Cults, rocking a 59.5% win rate.
So, before we deep dive, because obviously Andy and our team plays GSC, I do suspect that Genestealer Cult one, maybe we don't need to worry too much, but I feel that, I think the player base at the moment is tiny.
Yeah.
I feel like it's 5 players, and I have a feeling
they're brilliant.
I have a feeling one player won a GT out of the 6 players, so like it gives it a really skewed. I have a suspicion that it might be that with Genestealer Cults, where it's got a tiny player base and one player just ran right at an event, but I could be wrong with that as well.
So it's not tiny. It's not huge. There's 84 games recorded, so that's about it's not tiny, but it's definitely like if you compare it to some of the larger armies like Orcs 222, Tau 226. So it is below half of the popular factions, but it's not like Imperial Agents who have literally 20 games and they genuinely can have something. Like they had 11 games to beat Imperial Agents. So if one of those guys would have won that event, they'd have instantly been like a 60% win rate, and we all know that's not the truth.
Death Watch is like that, and one of the guys on Stonehammer does really well with Death Watch. And anytime he has a good 4-1 run, Death Watch's win rate's ridiculous. But there's him and 2 other guys playing the faction in the world, so it's one of them ones. So yeah, that's interesting with Genestealer Cult. Then maybe they are one that we need to sort of track over a few weeks and see if that sort of stays at that level, because they are still, even though I stand by this, Genestealer Cult have been as busted as we were at our peak point for time. And I mean time. They were the only reason that no one was crying about, because even though they were busted, you needed to be still a competent and skilled player to get it out of them. But they were
once you experienced that, you sat there and you were like, how the fuck is this allowed?
Yeah, it's like how. So basically, you just tell me your army does something, and I will just go okay, because you've done so many crazy things. You've now
Andy
shown me the
Mitten,
rules so I'm just giving up.
Hungover from being out until 5 a.m. in the morning, rocked up at 8 a.m. to a tournament and almost beat my ass in, playing absolute shit. And even at his own words, and if he'd have been playing proper, he'd 100% would have won. It was busted, and they've nerfed it obviously, but it looks like they're already starting to find another build. There's probably another broken build in there.
There will be.
And
now the top players have jumped over to it. There definitely will be.
Yeah.
Well, the third in that list, who isn't highlighted, that's another one where they have some broken rules, and they have kind of slowly
Sisters?
been getting.
They've crept back up.
Yeah. Like if you played Sisters recently, the amount of miracle dice, they are back to just insane miracle dice, and it's like
miracle dice shouldn't exist. It's a broken mechanic. We roll dice for a reason to add variability to our game. To just be able to just go, I auto deal 8 damage with this melter, or I auto 6 the charge.
It's the glancing melter shot that auto hits on a 6 in melter range, and it's like, that one wound vehicle that you just walk by me, bye.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that, and 10-inch charges where your opponent's I'm going to set up a 10-inch charge, mate, are you mad? And then they drop the 6-inch miracle dice, 50-50 now, mate. You're like,
and a CP reroll on that dice.
Yeah. Well, when you CP reroll, you lose a miracle dice on the second one.
But you still get a chance to do it, right? If you mess it up, you've still got another roll.
It's like the vehicles all having 6 vulnerables as well. You shoot it, but you get 2 hits, 2 wounds, you with Blight Hauler, and if they just don't want the tank to die, they just go, cool, it's just not dying. Here's a 6 auto. It's Imagine if we could do that with any of our 5 vulnerables, just every softness be like, yeah, we passed that one. Mate, our demon ninja would be unstoppable, because I would 100% poke my ass out. Because you could tank a Lancer then. You could have a Lancer stare at your PBC and just go, you physically can't kill me because I will auto pass one of them.
Yeah, well,
Aidan, you've got bigger things to worry about, which is roll 6-inch charges.
That is my biggest crime, yeah. I would love a Miracle Dice for that.
Well, this is the emphasis. Like a smart sisters player will set up a 7-inch charge. They'll just roll it the first time.
Yeah.
Because you know when they've got a 6 there. It's like,
yeah.
I probably don't need, because the odds are in my favour. I'll roll it. Okay. Yeah. CP, drop that 6 in. I'm just in. And it's
done.
like, yeah. It's like, you know, they can just keep that 6 and make that 6 last and make, you know, play mind games with you, knowing that they've got a 6 there and teasing when they aren't going to use it and make you play really conservative around them. So yeah,
here's a question for you both. What are the top 3, 5 armies got in common? And that's not a loaded question. Is what do you think's kind of then pushed the current meta where it's going? Can you see anything that's of use to comment on that?
I do, but I don't know whether it's like true or not. But for me personally, the reason I think they're doing well, and that's also why Space Marines in the right hands are also doing well. I feel like, and I was saying to you guys before, and I'll just go into my little rant now. And I think this is slightly somewhat expected. I think that toughness as a stat is pointed quite heavily, and it is near pointless at the moment because all these armies are T3, and I genuinely mean this right now, even though it would break my heart and it would not feel Death Guard at all. If you halved the points of the Plague Marine unit and made it T3 but kept the same damage output, I would take that 100%. If you made that Plague Marine brick 160 points and I could take 2 of them for the price of 1, but they were just way squishier, I don't care, because every time I've exposed my 10-man Plague Marine brick or something like that, it gets picked up. It does its thing, and unless it can kill like 2 units and shoot them and charge another, like it doesn't tend to get its value back. It can still be very good. It can still do a lot of work, but it's just like it's so much harder to get value out of that rather than Mr. Spurgman, who just throws out a 150 point unit that just goes and deletes a unit, and then you don't really care if it dies. So I feel like GW is very bad at balancing like genuinely like balancing like the damage to like a durability ratio, because I feel like damage they give out, especially this late into edition, so much things 5'7" they give out so many things that are like, you know, think about the game right now. So many things have +1 to wound, so many things have +1 to hit, so many things have full rerolls, so many things have crit, lethal, 5-up crit, sustained, everything. It is too easy right now to get around defensive mechanisms. So I'm after that before. If you had a unit of 20 Poxwalkers, charge a knight, and you were in Champions of Contagion, admittedly, you did spend 3 CPs, you get the 4 rerolls and the crit 5s, which is stupid, admittedly. The Poxwalkers alone will still rip 11 wounds off that knight. Like, zombies will rip 11 wounds off a knight, and if Typhus is in there, obviously you'll then chunk even harder, which is insane to me, because like 20 zombies should never realistically ever threaten a knight more than scraping, you know, 2 to 3 wounds off it at top, and that's a good roll. Like, yeah.
So adding to your point there, so I mentioned this in the last episode. I tried 3 grit and clean ones in Taliban summoners, and admittedly, you know, I think there were some misplays on my part in them, but I thought I'll put them all out at once, see what happens. And my opponents picked all 3 of them up in one turn, and I was like, wow, okay, so that really wasn't really much of a stat check then. So I think the game, as you said, is kind of got to that point where, like, you know, those were like toughness 12, toughness 13. There's so many rerolls, lethal hits, dev wounds. It just didn't really matter.
I feel like
the only thing for a while, right? Yeah. I've been saying that the game is the stepping off point of the Death Guard Codex was this new level of lethality, which is seemingly is continuing.
And with obviously the points increases coming in to make our already quite hefty pointed, like, our units that were already more expensive than a lot of other things in our armies. Now, they were undercosted. I'm not ever going to deny they were undercosted. But now, with the extra points put on that, and then, like, damage buffs given out to these other armies as well, I feel like the only thing that feels durable to me when I play is when I have something like a Death Shroud unit, and I give them an extra layer of defensive, like -1 damage. Or even, but, like, even I play Champions of Contagion, like, +2 toughness is either really, really good or it's completely useless. I've been sat on the CP and an enemy unit's got out and they've gone to shot me, and I'm like, what strength are your guns? And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're strength 7 or they're strength 8, and I'm like, oh, cool, so that's going to be like -2 to wound. And then they'll go, oh yeah, but it's lethal, sustain 5 up 4 rerolls and +1 to wound. And I'm just like, oh, okay, it just doesn't matter. I just die regardless here.
Well, in the LGT, when I played the Blood Angels player in round 1, he charged. So he moved some Vanguard out. I overwatched them, killed 2 of them. He brought the other unit out, and then he charged them into the Death Shroud unit. So I was like, cool, I'm spending the CP for +2 toughness to go to. I didn't even ask him, right? I was like, I'm going to go to C9. And then he's like, okay, cool. So this is strength 11. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I didn't need to spend that. I was like, okay, fair enough. Cool, carry on.
Yeah,
And that wasn't him being a dick. I just didn't ask because I was like, well, these are T9. Like you're in melee. Like you're hitting me and like so you're gonna be what, strength 8?
Yeah,
maybe strength 9. Like
yeah. And I mean,
So one thing,
go on, Will.
One thing I would add in quick, just for context, obviously some people listening might think we're moaning, but I think what we need to add in for context here, our identity as the army, we're meant to be the toughest, like sort of elite army in the game, and that tough and eliteness doesn't necessarily really feel like it's there at the moment. Although I do, after you've made it, I do actually think toughness 6 in the Plague Marines is actually a meaningful break point, but it's when you make them a big unit and it's the point sink.
I feel like I think what you said there is like T6 on paper is a good break point, like and it genuinely is. Like there's a lot of strength 6 melee that aren't winning on 3s anymore. There's a lot of like, you know, strength 3 little weapons like las guns now need 6s to wound you. You don't get doubled out by anything that's strength 10 anymore. Like in terms of break points, it is very good. But the problem is we're in a game at the moment where we aren't just shooting a weapon profile at something. It is a weapon profile plus a myriad of buffs or rerolls. Like the Marines are not shooting you with like when the Marine charges you like a Blood Angel. Again, Blood Angel's a Sultan Assessor. It is like, you know, it is not just a strength 4 chainsword. It is +2 strength, so it's strength 6 now. And now they're going to press their 1 CP to give it lance and lethal hits. So now you've gone from what was originally a good stat line because you needed 5s to wound you to now being wounded on 3s with lethal hits as well. And suddenly, like, that extra pip of toughness you paid for it, but it doesn't really matter. You're still going to die regardless. And, like, that's the bit that's kind of irking me. Because I feel like, I just feel like if we were back to just raw stat line versus raw stat line, you are correct, Will. Like, our stat lines do actually, if you just look at weapon profiles versus stat line, match up really well. And I feel like if we had a game where rerolls were cut down, crit 5 especially, lethal hits and sustained hits went everywhere, I genuinely think our army would feel really durable.
So looping this back around, because obviously we sort of sprungboard this from what Dave was talking about his, you know, sort of his new list, and I think this is a good time to sort of bring it back to what we're talking about, because I asked the question, does this mean as a Death Guard player we need to go back to foundations, core list builds, and build something whole new from the ground up and innovate, rather than just take what was previously the good list and just drop the 200 points? Because I think that's kind of where we are as a faction right now. Do we need to go right back to the drawing boards, rub the whole thing off and start again? Or can we kind of tweak what had been proven overly successful previously? And I think that's like a good sort of, I feel like that's where we are as a faction right now. And I don't know, how are you approaching this, you know, Aidan? Obviously with
so just to back up your point there, Will, to give what you're saying like weight to it. We had LVO happen, and give me 2 seconds to open up my Infection Critical, because I believe, now don't get me wrong, day 2 LVO terrain was a joke. It was basically an open field.
All melee armies got nuked.
Yeah, Tau did not lose a single game except in the mirror, which is very funny. But there you go, the top performing Death Guard player, we did have one at 13th, which is Junior Alhavi, but he's still 5 wins, 2 losses. And then after that, the next one was down at 91st. Who's in the chat as well, Kevin Morrison. Well done for going 4 wins, 2 losses. Excellent, well done,
dude.
Still really good effort, but like that's what I mean. The drop down there is quite thingy. And Derek, for example, Derek Apsh from Dirtbags, who's like the best, highest ranked player in the world, I think, at the moment. He is for Death Guard. I think
it's him, or must be him or Nathan.
It's him. It's him for Death Guard, and I think he might even just be like 1 overall for the amount of events he's won. He took his standard Mortarians and Demon Prince list, and he also went like he put it this way, in my Infection Critical, I am down to looking at 100th place, and he's not one of them. So
Yeah, I think he went 4-2.
you went 4-2 or 3-3 because
I think it was,
I
or
think
3
I
and
was
3.
looking
Oh, it
at
was 3-3. Yeah, but that was because like you saw like I mean I watched most of LVL on War Games Live, and it like that day 2 stuff was crazy.
It was. So my question would be,
Everything, all markers were solidly in the open.
yeah, it was so stupid. So the argument against that would be, has Derek suddenly become a shit player? No. No, that doesn't happen. Or has, as Will said, maybe what has been working now no longer works because our opponents and what the things we're trying to face have changed, or maybe the table is just like a bowling alley, which definitely doesn't help at all.
I think part of it was we were playing like hammer units and then still having chaff to play the mission, whereas now you can build like the hammer units, then you don't have the chaff to play the mission. So you end up with situations where, do you know what I mean? Like, I need to flip this objective to win the game, but the only thing I can flip with is this 10-man Plague Marine unit, and you're holding it with 5 scouts. It's like, I'm going to lose if I don't do this because I don't have anything else to do it. But by doing it, I'm probably also going to lose anyway because this is my hammer unit. Like, I feel like we're kind of ending up in those kind of situations a bit more than we had been previously. So I'm kind of wondering if there are MSU builds out there, and I'm wondering, for example, in VV, and this is maybe something we can sort of bring in a discussion point. The 5-man Plague Marine unit, if you put plasma gun on the sergeant, plasma gun or another, you can put melgun if you want, the spitter, and then the blight launcher, and then just take one weapon, one hammer, yeah. If you do the 1 CP strat on that, and that unit shoots another, say, 5-man power armored unit, you generally pick it up, and if you charge, you'll generally do enough to kill enough of the unit and flip an objective with your guys living. Do we need to start looking more at these units instead of having the hammer 10-man Plague Marine unit that has to pick up 2 units in shooting, charge into the unit, and that unit has to be on an objective to flip it to justify that big spend?
Yes.
Because those plays are hard to set up. It's kind of...
Because you got to remember, we're coming from a meta where knights and big expensive brick units were common, and you could genuinely have that Plague Marine, as you just said then, Will, come out, pop the rerolls, and potentially kill a large knight, and that in that one activation, you've already made your points back.
You've traded,
But now, in this game against the Sisters, the AdMech, the GSC things, and even Marines, because Marines, normal Space Marines, I'm sorry, they are so undercosted. Their units are so stupidly cheap for what they do. Like 6 Blade Guard for 160 points. What?
Templars are a bit too good. I haven't played them. That Repulsor is that should not be 220 points. It should be at least 240.
Yeah. So it's as you said then, the idea of getting that value back, don't get me wrong, 10 Plague Marines can pick up a brick of 20 Berserkers in one shooting, but again, that's no good when your opponent just, is playing with these 150 point units that can do a serious amount of damage to your Plague Marine squad. And don't get me wrong, your Plague Marine squad, if it so much as sniffs in the general direction, will 100% kill an enemy unit. But as Will's alluding to, would the 5-man with rerolls not also just do that and also cost you a third of the price tag, so you can replace it twice at that point? So
yep.
We have seen, so I will go back to the LVO results. So just remember, the first place list, which will be on Infection Critical, which is going to come out tomorrow, is back to the Mortarian's Hammer build, and he's gone with 2 squads of Death Shroud, 3 squads of Poxwalkers, 3 Heavy Blight Launch Drones, 3 Mythic Blight Holes, and 2 Plague Burst Crawlers. So, and we've seen a lot of lists that are doing well as well. We saw Craig do well at LVO, so LGT, running back to having 6 different bloat drones and just running cheap demon engines, because I do think our demon engines, our cheap ones, 100-point ones, are still one of the best things we have, because they are cheap, they are annoying to kill.
A bit too cheap, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think the normal drones, the mower drone and the spitter drone, are fine. I think the Blight Hauler could go up another 5 or 10 points, and I actually think the heavy blight, I think that's fine now. I think the only thing that could go up a little bit maybe the Blight Haulers, but backing up the point you're making there, it's a really efficient list to sort of try and fit all those holes in. It's just a shame that PBCs aren't as points efficient as the rest of it.
I think yeah, I think the PBCs maybe like the PBCs offer that great utility of the indirect, but like as you allude to, then do we just start going back to we just stop looking like maybe you bring like two of the Death Shroud Scrolls of the Lord. I can sort of stomach them still, but maybe do like the rest of it. Are we just looking at triple haul or triple normal bloat drone, triple heavy blight launcher bloat drone, triple spawn,
Death Shroud as well.
Yeah, even like because again, yeah, you don't need a lot of contagion in that squad to go and kill 10 Admech who are sat on a point.
No.
I mean, put it this way: in the Eldar matchup, the unattached unit shoots one unit and charges another unit and kills them both.
Yeah.
That trade happens with or without the character. Like the character, when you put that in, makes it really bad because that unit also gets picked up really easily when the Eldar have their turn and like the Fire Dragons or whatever that they've got sort of walk out. So it's, do you need to have these big expensive units? Like that's I think the question. But then of course, I think the meta's in a funny place at the moment, and you guys can both respond with this. I think the meta's MSU, but there are people out there who are kind of countering the meta, like World Eaters, who have been the 50 Berserker lists, kind of knowing that those MSU builds can't deal with sort of hordes of elite infantry. But then if you've built to play MSU, you also can't really deal with the horde of elite infantry.
Yeah.
So where's the sweet spot, I think, is kind of, or do you just go hard one way to sort of like, to join it? Like, do we try and copy World Eaters and go, right, okay, 40 Plague Marines, deal with this? Or, is it, it's hard to tell, I guess, is a point I'm trying to make, I think, for me at least.
Someone in chat said before right now, and I think it is a very true point that they said, that is, we, as an army right now, because of our points cost and whatnot, I think our army is very susceptible to rock, paper, scissors. I'm finding it very hard to make a take-all-comers list that feels comfortable. Like, I always feel like there's a glaring weakness somewhere else, whether it's anti-horde, whether it's anti-elite or anti-vehicle, because the points are just, I can't fit, like, the extra tool I need in there to sort of deal with that issue. So I feel like when I make a list, I am, like the list I took to LGT, when you get an infantry matchup, like Emperor's Children, rinsed it, like just murdered it. But then I got Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights back to back, and the Blight Lord, which was a 400 mere point unit, was now like really struggling to do stuff. Like it could, don't wrong, it could shoot still like 10 to 12 wounds off a knight. Like that's okay, but it's not good enough for its points.
It's not crippling it, and making it easy for something else to pick it up, guaranteed.
Exactly. So there is that. I mean, like Dave, what do you think? Do you think it currently? Do you think that the meta has just changed to a point where, as Will was saying, like maybe it is time to go back to the drawing board entirely? Obviously, you were saying you're going to take sort of your comfortable DLCs, but that's a different thing. That's more you being comfortable on it, having the reps on it, and wanting to play that detachment. Let's be honest, if you're playing DLC, you're playing Terminators. Like, it's not an option. Like, it's all about it.
Every one of your strats says Terminator model.
Yeah.
It's So yeah, I was just thinking about while you guys were chatting and looking at what chat was talking about as well. I think there's so the other interesting. I was going to back up your guys' points about the game and the lethality in it is for the last, I would say for a good chunk of LGT and my last couple of games I've had outside of LGT, I think I've played pretty much -1 to hit.
Okay.
Because of the threat of a lot of units out there has meant actually that I found it more effective probably to be able to make people drop hits, like reduce the dice that are coming in, make it using that as a level of survivability. Like you said, Aidan, when you can stack another defensive buff. Yeah. And then actually, realistically, most of the stuff is AP2, or if it is AP1, it's going through. It's then getting 2 damage from lots of different sources, or it's D6 damage, or it's melters, or it's crack missiles, or it's damage 3 heavy blight launcher drones, or it's damage 2 dash shroud, or it's there's actually a lot in there that you go actually against most armies, because also loads of people have got invulns all over the place seemingly now. Increasingly, that's the other thing that I feel is on the rise in the game.
There's too many 4-pin runables in this game at the moment.
Yeah, And I feel like if I can then just reduce the amount of stuff you're coming in, I lose a couple of dash round or a couple of models, then when I hit you, I do much more in return, guaranteed. So I think that was just a point to back up what you guys are saying. But yeah, it's an interesting one, and I agree with some of the comments in here. You know, I could easily see, once again, looking at my cabinet, and given I've got every variation of it, I could quite easily stick a massive hull span back out again, and think that with a load of poxwalkers, and just go, cool. I can screen you with 20 poxwalkers easily, or 40 poxwalkers easily, still stick 20 somewhere else in my own deployment zone, put loads of cheap, fast demon engines on points, and then follow those up with predators all across the back of my line to shoot at 48 inches into everything you've got if you move it out. You know, and then have tons of 5-up, 3-up, 5-ups everywhere, T9, 10 wing models all over the place, backed up by more T9 models, T10 models, with tons and tons of shooting, and you've got to chew your way through tons of poxwalkers. Like, that is not a fun way to play the game, though. And I don't really want to play the game that way. If I was if I was purely out to go, if I want to go to Coventry and score as many points as possible, then I probably wouldn't be considering taking Death Lord's Chosen at all, because it is not the most effective version of our army. But I don't want to play the game that way, personally. So, you know, I think, therefore, my thoughts are playing into armies and with that list or not, and probably playing -1 to hit quite a lot of the time. That's the one thing about champions that was actually really, really useful, was starting out the game going, great, if you start the battle round, you're going first, well, I can choose to make sure that you probably can't kill off turn 1, or I can choose to make you go, if you stick something when I go first, and then you put something in your turn onto an objective, well, I'm going to make your OC worse. So actually, I can make sure that when it comes to scoring primary in my turn, I can preempt that and kind of deal with it in my go. But I think definitely, like, there probably is some list amendments we can all look at things, but I just hope it doesn't take us into a place where back to where we've got 6 good detachments and a really interesting codex and a really well written book with loads of synergies, and then everyone ends up playing one thing. And I don't want to see the army go back in that direction.
I agree. I think. Go on, Will.
The one thing I do strongly feel, I don't think we'll all end up playing the same thing. I actually think Death Guard is one of the few books or facts of this edition where, like how Dave's talking about playing, Death Lord's Chosen. At no point, I've tried writing the list. At no point do I think I'll ever play that detachment.
No, I'm sure you wouldn't.
But not what I mean is, and then I look at some of the lists, and fair play, some of the Virulent Vectorum ones, which I'm on Virulent Vectorum at the moment. I'll say do look a bit similar, but then you start looking at people out there. There is still more variety in the Death Guard list than most of the factions I'm seeing, which I think is one thing that keeps this particular faction interesting. You think you've got a really good list and you're really happy with it and your practice games are going well, and you see someone else do really well at an event, you're like, oh, and you look at the list, it's wildly different, and you start thinking about ideas, and do you know what I mean? I think that's one thing our faction's got that keeps it interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of factions that have a one build only kind of thing, and I will say, so like just very quickly to cover this, we're not a bad army. I think Floor 1s are still easily possible with good players. 5-0 now is starting to become quite difficult, and I think the main problem is it's hard to sort of tech for everything. But I think I wouldn't drop. I don't think we're in any position where I need drop. We need emergency buffs or anything like that. But I think one of the things that, and again, it's we ought to remember as well, we're in late edition Warhammer, and even though it has been less so this edition, the power creep. To say there's no power creep is a lie. There is obviously still power creep. It's just less obvious. But I think
it's also come much later in the edition.
It has.
It's done this, then it's done that.
I feel like the one thing that I do want to point out is right now, and this is the one thing that I think is quite important. When it comes to Death Guard does currently negate but at least so pre changes, Death Guard did 2 things very well. One of these is still very true. We have insane damage output when things are in contagion. As Dave said there, if you lose a couple of Death Shroud, but you got your -1 to hit saves, makes a couple live, you will clap that unit back pretty reliably. Like, we hit back real hard. Like, our damage output to a fall is kind of crazy high. So that's fine. That is still true to this moment. The second bit, what was going for us before, was that we were undercosted. And we were a bit undercosted, like our units were silly cheap, and we could do a lot of work with our units because we had so many units on the board, which obviously did a lot of damage and it could overwhelm our opponents. Now, like a third thing that's supposed to be is like we're supposed to be durable, questionable at best. I don't feel it, I don't believe it, but it's supposed to be like a defining archetype of Death Guard. So currently, though,
at this point, durability is a 4+ invuln.
Yes, I agree. And it's not a Death Guard unique thing. I agree with you there, Will. I think there's far too many 4-pin runs in the game. So what I see now, though, is, and when we come back to the current game, so we've lost our undercosted status. That strength is gone. Our damage output is still here, but as Will alluded to there, durability is a big question mark. Because are you actually durable, or have you just got units with 4-pin vulnerables on it? Because everything else just dies to a stiff breeze. So we have great damage output, and that's about it. And we're fighting armies that have great damage output, maybe not as much great damage output as those in contagion range, but still really good enough to get the job done. And then they have all the other tricks in the book. We have a 6-inch deep strike and charge. That's a good trick, but that's our one trick. That is our one trick pony. And surprise, turns out over time people have actually learned how to play against it. Kind of like we said from the start.
Other armies have it as well.
Yeah,
I'm always quite surprised by how many other places it's like played to the other day. And
yeah, it's not a thing.
And I was like, oh.
It's not a hard thing to play against, or other armies have it. So, but what these other armies have, and one thing that's kind of annoying me is, when we're letting this late game edition is, so many core rules of the game, so many armies can ignore, and we can't, because it's our design philosophy to not have. We can't have advance and charge. We can't have advance and shoot. Now, don't worry, you can get like DLC on a very specific, like, either enhancement or a stratagem, but like, a lot of armies can just, like Gladius, anything can just get it. Anything can now fall back and shoot. Anything can fall back and charge. Advance and charge coming out the wazoo. Like how many games have I had recently where if I go second, my opponent has half their army in my deployment zone, and I'm like, what the fuck? But they never have to be worried about that from us because we physically can't do it. And then you can't lock things up because everything can fall back and shoot, fall back and charge, and do all these things. There's reactive moves all over the place. We do have a reactive move, unfortunately, and again, it's not unfortunate because it's a great ability to have, but it is tied to a 400-point model in a Primarch, which is already making the sort of rock, paper, scissors, cube thingy. So when you actually bring it back to us, the only things we really have going for us at the moment is our crazy damage output and our 6-inch deep strike and charge, which people are starting to get better at screening and dealing with. Mm-hmm. And when you're outside of that, I feel like we just have an army that has some pretty good rules, like rerolls. We have a lot of rerolls, but again, it's all just damage. But the damage is no good if we can't apply it. Like, the reason the Fire Dragons are such a threat, because they can move out of that thing, blast you from miles away, and they go jump back in the transport. And even if you try and play like 22 inches away from that transport, they can hop out 3, move like 7, advance 6, +2 because of battle focus, and still shoot your ass because it's assault. Like, it's just like, Like, I had a game where Blood Angels just got 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard, they got first turn, they got into the middle L and UKTC runes, and I was just sat there like, if I approach anywhere in the middle of this board, I get charged. But I have no interaction outside of, like, walking forward. I don't have the ability to go and threaten, advance, and charge or anything like that. It's weird.
One of the things I feel missing the most, like, so I don't feel like I'm struggling as much with Death Guard as it actually was in the Codex drop, because when things change, I just sort of like lose my mind a bit, like, and I feel like I have to go and try all the sort of like things in like weird corners just to check that they're not good before I join the mainstream. So I'm feeling quite comfortable at the moment with it. But I think what I think people need to look at, where are the units in our book that punch up? And I think that's where we need to look, because we know that the 10 Plague means punches up. That, and also building for terrain formats, because that 10-man Plague Marine unit, so obviously talk about the team form at the start, is on WTC format. That is so much better on WTC than it is in UKTC, because the big base in the way the terrain is, it's really easy to open up and unlock the terrain. Whereas on UKTC, it's near impossible to crack that middle ruin. So like the super one just by the centre. So I don't think it works on UKTC, even at Virulent Vectorum. But I think in WTC to it, I think it's like you'd be mad not to take it. So I think we need to look at that. And also, I've talked about this loads, and it was you guys that pioneered it. Look at the Malignant Playcaster. Honestly, just try him solo. In a Rhino, start him out the Rhino. He is like... He, for 60 points, he is that guy that your opponent, like, he'll walk past him with his, don't know, 5 power armored guys. You just don't do an Overwatch. And he's like, what happened there? Hang on. How? And you're like, he's 60 points. He's 60 points! How is he 60 points? Like, he's... Units like him, I think we need to be looking at and putting them in and avoiding the sort of, like... And like, missing the fight first, you know, is the example that I wish we had. But it's so expensive in the fact you can use it once outside of, or you have to spend a CP. I think try and avoid having these, you know, big units you've got to protect, and just try and have like these little skirmishes. They can just throw them away, it doesn't matter. Like 5 Plague Means and VV unattached with the character. Like I find them quite good again. Just they just punch up, you know, they're punching up on one side and your sorcerers punch up on the other, and you've exposed 155 points of your army, and you've picked up like 3 units of like 100 points each, and your opponent's like, how am I losing this trading battle? I've just lost like 3 decent units to like 1 random guy and 5 Plague Marines. So I think look at those kind of builds. I think, you know, maybe move away from the bricks that we've been used to.
Even I'm looking at Plague Burst Scrolls again, Will, for the whole idea that it's a unit that can get value without trading. Like I can just fire all 3 of them at a unit in hammer, kill it, and like I have traded 0. And if I'm just trying to even, like we said, like you were saying there, Will, I'm just trying to even the number of the trades, because like you said, if I can get the trading back to a 1-to-1 ratio, or like again for PBCs a 3 trade, then like you said, the issue with like having like running out of units before they do it's lessened. So yeah, maybe it is time to, like you said, go back completely to the drawing board. Like, I don't get me wrong, if something's working for you, obviously keep playing it and keep going at it. I just want to put, again, we're on a caveat. We are not a bad army. We are not.
No, not at all.
We're still very good. I think
we're very strong.
We've just noticed this declining win rate since the balance days, and we just want to talk. With the whole point of this stream is just talk about why we think it's happening, and is it something that we now need to adapt to? Because I mean, if we all just sat here and kept playing the same thing we've been playing whilst our win rate's been dropping, it's just going to keep dropping. So we've got to start innovating a little bit, coming back into it. So yeah, I mean, like as Will said there, maybe like the MSU sort of style is, because I agree, like playcasters are so funny. Like you like the hammer one I'm doing, I've got a plague bus in it with 5 marines, so I can just move through a wall on the middle L, drop 2 of them into that little paper ruin. They can shoot anything that's behind the wall, and I've given one of them the 3 Overwatch enhancement. So it's like, cool. Next turn, do you want to move somewhere? I'll pick up another unit, or at least chunk it. It's like, you know, if a 60 point playcaster even kills like, you know, 2 Sanguinary Guard as they walk past him, he's made his points back plus 20.
Also, do you want to? So this is another bit of. I haven't sort of put this on the table yet, but I'm looking at it. Look at things like carnivores again. I know I'm like a broken record on this, but I think. But one of the things I think we lack though, we lack at the moment, and a point efficient unit that can point him into a high armored vehicle. I've been writing lists with 3 PBCs and 2 carnivores. The carnivores deal with the big threats and push forwards, but the PBCs deal with that, and then you meet in the middle as to, like, you know, that's where you put your flavour, your mission play, you know, however many demon engines you want, you play plus, you know, some plague means, whatever you want.
Yeah, like just,
and those
like
lists
if you had those
feel
2,
all right.
And then if you had those PBCs, the 2 carnivores, and then you had like 3 spitter bloat drones. I'm fine with Craig started trying them out again, because like those things are really good. Like you said, they fill for that mid-roll unit, as you're saying,
Yeah. Or the Fleshmower ones again.
Yeah.
I think the Fleshmower ones are more in hammer, because you can kind of go through a wall, but like they skirmish really well, because again, the things they're picking up are really bad at picking them up back, but admittedly they are looking for very specific targets. Like they go into the wrong unit and you're going to bounce off. Like against Custodes, they're not a good unit that you want. They're going to go into like, they're going to probably pick up half a guy, 1 guy if you're lucky, and then get picked up in response. So, you know, that's
just very quickly. T Craig 93, thank you very much for the $4.99 super chat. Interview with Stephen at LVO for my channel was awesome. Hopefully next LVO you guys will be there to do one as well. I believe Dave's hoping to go to the one next year.
Should be the next one, yeah.
So hopefully you can see you. Thank you so much for the super chat though. I'm glad you had an awesome interview with Stephen though at LVO and got to meet him. So that's awesome. What is your channel by the way? By the way, feel free to share your channel in the chat. We're not going to yell at you.
Is that the Frontline Gaming channel by any chance? Because I saw Stephen do the sort of TED Talk type thing on there.
Steve was doing a lot of their he was doing a lot of their content over at LVO.
I used to love the Frontline Gaming podcast. Like before 40k was as big as what it is now, and it was still very kind of before lockdown, the corner of the internet when I just got back in. I was fascinated by Reese and some of the ones that I imagine most of the people didn't enjoy. The ones where he just goes off on tangents and basically just like does like an hour of business talk and how it ran his business and the hard. I used to be fascinated by them. So like, yeah, if Reese ever listens to one of these, like, he was a big inspiration to me. Listen to that, because when I'm self-employed as well, I used to listen to that. I used to take risks to my self-employed Davis, some of the things he said. So yeah, I'm really glad that the Frontline Gaming podcast has returned. So yeah, complete tangent.
Tallyman77 in chat says, hot take, but I believe Death Guy will be back up to a 60% win rate if more people started playing Shamble Rot. Just 90 Potswalkers and all drones tanks. I still have till tomorrow to submit my list for this RTT. If you guys want me to take Shamble Rot, I'll test that bugger. I'll see how Shamble Rot does. I'm sure it won't give me back problems.
I'm sure therell be someone from Stoneham playing there, mate. So if you do need some box waters, I'm sure I can give a box to someone.
I think I have already like 100 already, so I might just need like 20.
I still also think in Taliban is you take 3 times 6 Nurglings, 3 times 20 Poxwalkers, and you go, you aren't getting out. You're not getting into the midboard straight away.
Just play full jail.
And if you kill a unit of Nurglings, then I just spend 1 CP and I put it back into strategic reserve and bring it down again. Like, that is an insane amount of wounds to get through, and there's no space to jump. There's no space to fly over it, like on the board. There's nowhere to deep strike. There's nowhere to rapid ingress. Like, and then you just sit in the background scoring on it.
Dear Leg says, test my list, Aiden. I'll give you $20 Canadian. Watch the list, Dear Legs. You have to let me know what the list is. T Craig. The channel is the Attritional Wargamer. So he said his videos are being edited now and should be up soon. Awesome. I will make sure to check that out. So guys, check out the Attritional Wargamer while you're at it. Thank you for tuning in for tonight, mister.
Yeah, thank you.
Check the channel in the Discord. There's some spicy lists. Ooh, okay.
So is there any more super chats or chat comments? Because I feel we've probably covered a lot of things for this week, and obviously
we had a great chat. A great chat.
And also thank you to the 165 people who tuned in this evening to listen. So thank you very much, and thank you for all your comments, your super chats. We really appreciate it. This is why we do this. Is we have such a engaged group of people and people in kind of listening and commenting. So thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, and like, comment, subscribe, all those people who are there, because the YouTube algorithm has changed recently. And likes, comments, and subscribes get us a lot more views in the recommend section than they had done previously. So to help us grow, that's a small way to do it. In addition to the things you mentioned at the start with affiliate to Element Games and various ways you can buy merchandise and things like that, and get coaching from the Vanguard Tactics. But I mean, is there anything else to add, you guys, before we
Birchie just quickly saying $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Birchie. Don't worry, you guys will be more durable in 11th. I'm sure 11th will be less lethal and there'll be less rerolls.
I'm going to D tier in 11th. We finished 9th in D, started 10th in D.
But yeah, I just want
D to be coming back for us.
And Bug says, I have no clue what's going on, but I had fun. He's my guild leader in WoW, so he tuned in just to see what it's all about. He knows Warhammer Lord doesn't play the game at all, so he has no fucking clue what we've been talking about. But I'm glad you enjoyed it regardless.
We just talked absolute nonsense at you there for about an hour.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. But yeah, I just want to very quickly before we sign off. Again, I know I may have been a bit ranty tonight, but again, Death Guard is in a fine place. Like, it's genuinely fine. It's just we're in late edition Warhammer, and anyone that's been here more than once understands it just kind of gets a little crazy. Like, everyone has every single access to every single rule, and Death Guard are, because of Athamites, we're very limited. Like, we're never going to get high mobility rules, like, no matter what. But other armies in the game kind of just get given it late in the edition because they can have it, whereas we're, like, straight up, like, not allowed. But this has been the problem with every edition ever so. But there's still, as Will said, I think the coolest thing about a faction is there is still plenty of viable builds. There is still plenty of room to go and try out these different units. Take this MSU, try it out, bring back PBCs. We've still got plenty of room to try out and flex out, but it does seem like what was working for the past few months maybe needs to have a quick fresh pair of eyes on it.
Yeah, I mean, for example, Hammer. I've been writing them. I've never tried it. I don't know if I ever will. Try 3 Predators and then all the bloat drones, Predator Destruction, all the bloat drones.
Yeah.
On paper, it is an insane amount of guns. I don't know if it's good or bad, but like, I don't think there's an army in the game. If you just deployed on Planet Bowling Ball, where there's no terrain and you go first, I think there's an army in the game that doesn't just get picked up in a turn. But like, is it a good list? I don't know, because you know terrain exists.
Got to score points.
Not LVO, no. Day 2 LVO.
That would have been amazing at LVO. But there'll be some mad lad out there who's, maybe concocting it or, thinking about it. These are the things we want to see and, talk about. And
you know where a great place where you can have this discussion is the channel Discord, yeah?
Join, become a member, and then there's 6 great channels of
like and subscribe while you're at it, just shield boys, shield.
Loads of good ways to do it.
But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the discussion tonight. So again, don't go away from us thinking we're terrible or anything like that. Was not the intention. We just noticed the trend of this downward spiraling, not even spiraling, downwards trending win rate. And we just want to address.
It's just a good kickoff point for a discussion.
Yeah, that's all it is. So please don't be all doom and gloom. Don't be doomer. Just get back out there, try some new things. I'm sure it'll be good. So anything else last to add to tonight, guys, before we head off?
Giddy.
No, I think the kitten's coming to tell me it's time to finish. So he's coming. He's much marched.
He's like, hello.
Certainly marched over. Just looked up at me.
Buggy, it could be time to go back to Hammer. It could be time to go back to Hammer, Buggy. We'll have to find out. Dave, anything to add, mate?
No, all good. I think that was a really good chat. Thanks for hanging out tonight, guys, and thank you to everyone in chat for hanging out with us.
Indeed. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat. So again, just remember, you have one day until my RTT deadline is tomorrow. So if you want to convince me to just take something like Poxwalk or something, you've got one day on the Discord to tag me and stuff. I'm not a tyrant. I'm flexible and I can be bribed. Which
you're going to be that mad lad, aren't you? With this the 3 Predator list.
You know what? I actually am excited to try Shamble Rot. I've just you've got to be in the mood to do it. But recently I've been kind of feeling it a bit. So we'll have to see if they can convince me. Anyway, that is enough rambling for now. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in tonight. We'll leave you for now. Infection Critical will be up tomorrow, and I'll have another video up for the Iron Hands video over the weekend while I'm at the RTT on the Saturday. So enjoy your evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day/night, and we'll catch you all on the next episode of the Discussing Resilient podcast. Stay rotten. Goodbye for now.
Bye, guys.
We'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
In the void, where the warp winds howl, a fleet once noble, now destined to fall. Great wardens stir, betrayal takes shape, Typhon's whispers, sealing their fate. Navigators lost to the shadowed lie, a fleet adrift beneath a darkened sky. The warp's cruel grasp, unyielding and tight, chaos awaits in the endless night. Whispers of power, a pestilent tide, Mortarian's pride, with nowhere to hide. The destroyer plague, a grim reward, Nurgle's laughter echoes aboard. Bound by decay, they rise in his name. The death god transformed, never the same. Plague-born sons with torment they bled, shambling forth where angels fear to tread. Mortarian stands, his sons by his side. Through agony storm, their oaths collide. grandfather's hand, the pact is sealed. The Legion reborn, their fate revealed. Rise in the armor, rot in the soul. A Primarch remade, his heart grown cold. In terror's shadow, their war drums beat. Pestilent warriors, no chance of retreat. Through breach and ruin, their banners fly. With death's embrace, they'll never die. The Lion's Gate, where hope was torn. Dragon's blade meets the blade born. Bound by decay, they rise in his name. The Death God transformed, never the same. Blade-born sons with torment they bled, shambling forth where angels fear to tread. Typhus herald, chaos born, Mortarian's wrath, the plague sworn. In the warp, their legacy thrives, eternal servants where corruption lies. Mortarians fall, Typhus ascends, the death god song, it never ends.